So here we are with our friend Brian Lindner.
Correct.
Brian has been with the company for a long time.
I started Memorial Day 1978.
1978. Wow, that's a
Correct.
lot of time.
Many years.
So you retire now?
I retired 6 years ago, yes.
Okay, and what was your capacity before?
When I retired, I was in charge of the conservation unit, retaining business, keeping business on the books. So when we identified a threat to a policy, I'd work with the agent in the field force to try and conserve that business.
And since you retired, you've been working as a part-time as a historian?
I still come in, I do the company history.
Okay.
I keep working on that and doing presentations and tours.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story of National Life, its foundation, how it happened, who founded it?
Yep. Yeah, National Life was the concept of a man named Benjamin Balch from Massachusetts. And he had helped form a couple of other life insurance companies, but he really wanted to create a life insurance company of his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he had failures in other states. So he came to Vermont, as best we can tell, because he was looking for a new market. He's trying to explore who else could he sell life insurance to. And he realized that nobody was selling to the farmers on the hillsides,
Wow.
the people that lived outside urban America in 1848.
Wow.
And that's why he picked Montpelier, because we were very rural then and we're still very rural today.
So he came to Montpelier and he chartered the company?
Yes.
In what year?
1848, he secured a charter from Vermont legislature, November 13th to be exact, and that's the beginning of National Life.
Wow. And then he had to, I hear yesterday in the story that you told us, that he had to secure 1,000 members?
Yes. Yeah, the Vermont legislature granted him the charter, but then they had put a caveat on it that said you can't actually begin conducting life insurance business until you have 1,000 subscribers, what you and I think of today as applicants or policy owners.
So we got to get 1,000 people interested in fill an application,
Yes.
and once we have that, then we can start operating.
That's correct. And they started in November of 1848 to get 1,000 applicants, 1,000 subscribers, and it took them all the way to January 15th, 1850, before they finally had that 1,000th application.
So about 2 years.
Just about 2 years,
Wow.
yes.
And back then, you moving like in a horse or
Correct.
do you imagine?
That's why it was such an amazing task, is because they weren't in a city where they could sell, going street to street selling. They had to go out onto the very remote hills of Vermont
Wow.
to find people to sign applications.
So what happened after that? He became with the 1,000 applicants,
Mhm.
and then he was fired?
That's correct. The day that they announced they had 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 applicants, the board fired Benjamin Balch because
Wow.
nobody liked him. They thought that he exceeded what he was supposed to do, and they just wanted to get rid of him.
So that's when Mr. Dewey,
Dr. Julius Dewey, who was a member of the board, was then elected to become president of the company, and he took over from Benjamin Balch.
wow, interesting story.
It is.
Do,
It is.
do you know when the first claim was paid?
Yes, the first claim is an amazing story. It was paid 6.5 months after we issued the first policy.
Wow.
And it was on a Vermonter who bought a $1,000 policy and then traveled to California for the gold rush.
Uh-huh.
And he left his wife and his daughter here in Vermont, but he felt that he had protected them. And he died in San Diego, and it took weeks for the word of the death claim to come back here to Montpelier. And when it came, the board of directors had a meeting and said, we don't have any money to pay a $1,000 death claim. There was no reserving requirements back then.
Which $1,000 is equivalent to about 150, 200,000
Roughly,
today.
roughly $150,000 today. So eventually the claim did arrive in Montpelier, and the board realized it couldn't pay it. and they said, well, we can deny the claim because he died outside the United States. And that was an exclusion in the policy. And the board said, look, we can't do that. We can't deny our first claim because nobody else that we've sold to would ever believe us again. And who did we sell to? Our friends and neighbors here in the hills of Vermont.
Right, right.
So they couldn't pay the first claim. They simply didn't have enough money. The local banker heard about this, and he met with Dr. Dewey and basically said, you guys pay the claim, the bank will cover it, and you pay us back whenever. And it was done over a handshake.
Wow, nice.
And so Dr. Dewey got a check for $1,000.
So that decision to pay the claim of $1,000, what benefit other than complying with the promise brought to the company?
Well, really, the company didn't have to pay. Legally, they could have declined it.
Right.
But the board felt the honorable thing to do was somehow pay it. They talked about mortgaging their own homes to pay it. But the bank came through and just gave them the money and said, pay us back later. So we paid the first death claim as a promise, although we could have declined it.
But I understand that the beneficiary put an advertising in the newspaper that
Yes.
everybody should have life insurance and with National Life.
That's correct. The first beneficiary, Mrs. Roland Allen, Dr. Dewey gave her the $1,000, and she instructed her attorney to invest the bulk of the money and take a big chunk of that money and buy advertisements in every Vermont newspaper telling people why everybody needs life insurance, and they need it from National Life Insurance Company.
That is an amazing story. Let me ask you another question. In the 170 years the company, how many CEOs have we had?
Well, that's another amazing story. We've only had 16 CEOs since 1848.
Wow.
One of them died his first month in office. So we've really only had 15, Moran being the 15th. And it's a huge strength of this company that the CEOs come, they stay forever, they get to know the people here in the home office, but they also get to know the people in the field because they're here for so long. So our CEOs have personal relationships with our field force.
So that talks about the stability of the company.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
most of the company that they keep changing CEOs, they bring new people, new ideas, new
Yes.
things.
Exactly. Well, I look at other companies, they change CEOs every 2, 3, 4 years,
Right.
and the company keeps changing directions.
Right.
And National Life just continues to march straight ahead.
What would you say that is the best thing that happened to you while working in National Life? Or better say, what would you say is the best strength of National Life?
The best strength of National Life, by far, is the integrity. In all my years that I've been here, I have never once felt like anybody in this company wasn't being straight and honest with me. And I find that critical because it makes you more dedicated to the company, knowing that the company is honest with you and is taking care of you.
And what would you say to the agents down in Miami or everywhere that are considering a career change? Why should they consider National Life?
It gets down to the fact that here at National Life, because we are in a remote area, we basically have a captive workforce. I'm a perfect example. Okay, and so when we come to work at National Life, we stay forever. It's our career here at this company, and we're not going to jump ship to the next competing life insurance company in 2 years and then jump ship to another company in 2 years, because this is home. And the importance is we're here for so long, we get to know everybody in the field that we deal with. And a good example is before caller ID, agents would call up that I had worked with for years. They didn't have to say who was calling.
Right.
I recognized their voice. I knew what they would want. I knew how they would want it. In many cases, I even knew their clients or their clients' advisors because I've been here forever and working with that agent forever.
Well, life is about relationships, and that way you could keep the relationship forever.
Absolutely.
Great,
Absolutely.
great, great. Now let me ask you another question. We arrived here on Wednesday and we stayed at the guest house.
Mm-hmm.
Great place to stay, great breakfast, great treatment. Can you tell us a little bit the story of the guest house?
Yes, the guest house. There's so many amazing stories about it, but the guest house here at National Life was built and designed to emphasize our Vermont roots. Now, the home office itself is not that way. The home office itself is designed to emphasize our national roots. But the guest house, for example, when we were starting construction in 1969, they were tearing down the old Pavilion Hotel in downtown Montpelier, where Benjamin Balch had all of his meetings with the original board of directors to create this company. And because it was the winter time, they met in front of the fireplace in the Pavilion Hotel. So in 1969, when we started construction on the guest house, they were tearing down the original pavilion. And we bought all the bricks from that fireplace. And when you go into our guest house today, the fireplace you see is the fireplace our founders sat around creating this company.
Great. And you know, what is amazing also is that there are no TVs in the rooms.
Right.
So you feel like in a very nice place to talk to yourself and you know, and quiet. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it's been tradition that there's no TVs in the rooms in the guest house.
Now, another thing that amazed me is that when you come to this beautiful place, Montpelier, and you see those beautiful mountains, green or white, if we are in the winter, and all of a sudden you see this beautiful building, modern building. Can you tell us about this building a little bit?
Yes, the building that we're sitting in is home office number 7.
Okay.
5 of the previous home offices are still standing. They're all here in Montpelier. And when they built this building, they started construction in 1955-56. They wanted to emphasize that the company was staying in Vermont because of the captive workforce. That's one of the big reasons. And they wanted to emphasize in the construction of this building that this is not a Vermont company. It's not a New England company. It's not an East Coast company. This is National Life. So many of the architectural things in this building emphasize this is a national company. For example, the floor in our main lobby is Tennessee marble, despite all the beautiful marble mines we have right here in Vermont. The granite accents in our main lobby are from Minnesota. Again, because this is not a Vermont company, this is a national company.
Unbelievable, you see? Well, thank you very much giving us these couple of minutes.
Absolutely, my
to
pleasure.
tell our people the story of National Life, which is a great story. And we're looking forward to come back again with other group of agents and instructing them on all what National Life has to offer.
Absolutely, and I would be thrilled to give them a tour, anybody that you bring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.